doing, Deb?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
Hanging in there. It's been a rough week. The psyop is like melting my brain.
Uh, yeah, I hear you there very much. I mean, it just I I'm kind of like I've gotten to the point I just like the lies that I keep spewing out of everywhere. It just I just like, you know what? Okay, tell me when you have something tangible, you know?
Well, we have a lot of tangibles out there, and they're counteracting them with trying to tear down every institution MAGA has.
Yeah. Well, I do have to say, because I caught what you were talking about, Charlie Kirk and Pastor Rob. I was going to that church. I was going to Godspeak. I was trying to be part of Turning Point USA Faith. Um, I stopped going to the church mainly because it's up a mountain and it's a wear and tear on my car. And when gas prices over with gas prices, I can't talk over $4. It was just making it very hard to be active in the church. And you know, I don't know where that clip about Pastor Rob saying that his son was covered with blood, but when it originally happened, I listened to Pastor Rob. He never mentioned about his son being covered with blood. He talked about how his son went out to the parking lot in his car and called his dad and was telling them what was happening, and he was very shook up. Never once did I ever hear Pastor Rob saying that his son was covered with blood. Now he did talk. I think it was Frank Turley, but I don't know. Y'all can call me a shill. You can call me gullible. You can call me whatever. And I mean, I don't. There's some things about Pastor Rob, yeah, but that doesn't mean I don't know. I don't. The whole Charlie Kirk thing. I get tired, but because like I said, anything that they can to tear down. Because Pastor Rob, I can tell you this: Pastor Rob sat on the city council. He actually was one of the very few churches that fought the state or the county to keep his church open during COVID. He's spoken against the shots. So if you're gonna go buy something, I go buy that. And anything else, you know, you can make your own decision. In fact, the if you go to the church's website right now, they have a service going on, and he's had several different people on or coming into the church to speak. During the 2024 election, he had candidates from any candidate who wanted to talk actually come to the church to talk about their candidacy on both sides of the aisle if they wanted to. Of course, you can guess which side of the aisle actually come and spoke, but they talked about their platforms, so people would have an informed decision about who to vote for. And he's been
Right. My understanding is that Charlie Kirk met the pastor because he stood up against the COVID shots and was making political statements, etc., and had been active politically. And he claims that he was one of the people on I'm sure it was like some kind of meeting or committee about starting the Turning Point faith. And so it was not just him, there were other religious leaders, and his son somehow became Charlie Kirk's chief of staff. So he was the guy. What makes me mad about it personally is I don't know. Okay, so I used to do entertainment in Chicago, like
right.
parties and bands and all that stuff. And I'll tell you right now, like when I looked at the setup where you had chaos on both sides of the stage and behind the stage, You had no solid backing on the back of the stage. Yeah, they put up bike racks around the front of the stage, and they had security there to jump whoever came up to the microphone. But I would have never let talent on a stage until they cleared those upper walkways. I also would have had pat downs and had all the buildings where the doors locked with only like one way in. Of course, you have to allow ways out if there's a fire or whatever. There was no ambulance there. Who does an event without having an ambulance there? Now, someone said there were some paramedics there that showed up with medical bags and in a video. Maybe that's true. I don't know. I mean, there's also people that work at colleges and nursing programs or whatever who might have shown up. But there were so many red flags, and this McCoy kid who's the chief of staff. If Charlie Kirk was my talent, I would have said, "No effing way are you standing going and stepping on that stage. No effing way." They have not cleared those balconies up there. The doors are not locked. Anyone could walk in and out on those walkways up there and take a shot at you, dude. You are not going out. And I also would have said, all the people along the side and the back of this, all of you MFers, get the F out. You cannot have a situation in the round where your security is not only watching where you are facing out to the audience, but they're also having to police a seemingly very open situation behind a wall that's not a wall, it's a tarp. Anyone could have just shot from behind there through the tarp and hit him from any of these cars that seemingly were coming and going. There's like cars in the walkway. There's cars all over the place and hundreds of kids back there. How are the kids getting back there? I mean, outside of your volunteers who hopefully you also patted down. If not, make them walk through a scanner. I mean, this is just basic rock concert level security, which is what I was used to. So, I mean, that's what I'm mad at this McCoy kid for. I would have never let him step foot out there. Never. And if Charlie Kirk, who, I didn't know him that well, but he had a very assured way about him and probably always gets his way because he's very, forceful personality. If you're chief of staff for somebody who's constantly overruling you need to like get another position to keep the freaking person alive. Just be like, look, you're always overruling me. I don't feel comfortable with this because someone should be telling you no. So that's what makes me the most mad about all this. This was all preventable, 100% preventable. And
Yeah.
that's what makes me mad about it. So I don't know how this Mikey McCoy became his chief of staff. And
Well,
supposedly the story is the after everyone started talking about the video of him walking away, um, that Andrew Covett, who's like the Turning Point USA spokesperson, came out and said that, and this sounds like total BS. He said, "Oh, Charlie had told Mikey over and over and over again that if anything happens to him, to walk away and call Erica." And so the story is that he walked away, he called Erica, hung up the phone, and then he called his dad and told his dad to start praying and get all the pastors to pray. So that sounds totally reasonable, but it sounds a little weird. I don't know.
yeah.
Seems weird.
Okay. My understanding is Charlie Kirk, Mike McCoy met Charlie Kirk at a TPUSA at one of the colleges. That's my understanding. And he introduced Charlie Kirk to his dad. That is my understanding. That is what I have heard out of Pastor Rob's mouth, in fact.
It's probably true.
And so, and then they got to talking. But that's the thing is Charlie Kirk talked to a lot of different pastors. He met with a lot of different pastors. You Mark Driscoll out of Arizona. He actually had Mark Driscoll on his Charlie Kirk show before a few months before he, what happened. But then I guess they got together, and Charlie Kirk and Pastor Rob got together and to come up with the TPUSA faith. So, like I said, all I can do is go by my personal experience about what I saw, what I heard, uh, being part of the church, and anybody else, you know, and that's all I can go by. What I know from personal experience. Whatever anybody else wants to think, that's up to them. So I
Right. What concerns me is that anyone who's in Charlie's orbit, this group of people and their quote unquote researchers seem to be taking a wrecking ball to anybody who took initiative, either in the faith aspect of it. Tyler Boyer, they're taking a wrecking ball to him. He's TP Action, who got all the ballots chased down in Arizona. So they're taking a wrecking ball to him. In other words, and they're taking a wrecking ball to Erica. That's the three
right,
key people that seemingly are going to take major roles or be entirely in charge of the three different branches of Turning Point. So what does that tell you? I mean, I can understand why Candace might be losing her mind because she was his original partner. And so she's obviously very upset. I don't understand. Like, she was on tour with him last year. Anyone who says they were enemies or something happened, if it did, it's recent. But these other people like Matta, something village idiot lady, and uh based some guy. I've never heard it. I've heard of the village lady, the crazy village lady or whatever that is, but this other people, I never heard of them. What is their connection to Charlie? Why are they so worried about him? Why are they nitpicking through every single person? You can say that you don't like Turning Point because of the Israel thing. That's fine. But why do you want to take down an organization that's getting votes for MAGA type candidates? Maybe they love Israel, whatever, but would you rather destroy our country over Israel by not having the youth movement with us? These people are on by a thread. These kids have nothing to live for. AI is taking all their jobs. They can't afford a house. They're told that they suck, that if you're a white young man, you're as good as dead. I mean, these kids are screwed. They're screwed. I have a young white male son, and Charlie gave him hope. Like, so just being politically like smart. Why are you tearing something down that you only have one beef with? You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, why are you tearing the whole freaking thing down unless it's malicious? Because there is nothing to, what's going to replace Turning Point? The Grapers? Do they
well,
know how to ballot chase? No, they do not. Do they know how to do the faith thing? No, they do not. They're not set up for an election that's going to be in 10 months or whatever.
right.
There's no one set up to do it.
Well, I
So
know that.
why would you tear it down freaking now when our country's just hanging by a thread? Just forget about the minutia here. That's just my opinion. That you got to think before you act crazy.
I Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe This is, again, this is my personal opinion. I think in Candace, maybe either I saw a video of her, and she's talking about how Charlie came to her in a dream, and if you looked at her demeanor, she was very disheveled, and it's almost like she's being drugged. I'm not saying she's taking it on her own. I'm saying this is what it appears to me. And there was definitely someone outside of camera range because she acknowledged him. So I don't know if she's being controlled. I don't know, but that's my opinion, again, my opinion, that's what it appeared to look like to me. So the whole thing is, we know after, again, you've been at this longer than I have, but, we know that the attack on the United States and tearing down the American dream has been going on for centuries, at least, if you want to go back to the 50s, under McCarthy when he tried to warn people about the infiltration of the Communist Party, or you can go back, even we can go back to the early 1900s. So for over a century, we know that the American dream has been under attack. It's just that it is finally coming to a boiling point, and I don't know. Maybe the truth is finally being exposed by who some of these influencers are, and it quite it. And for me, it's like get your, people need to get critical thinking, get your critical thinking skills, and start. Don't take everything at face value. I don't anymore. I've stopped. I've been burned too many times thinking one thing and then finding out, oops, I was mistaken. So I try not to I try not to go with the initial narrative because I don't know the truth. Half the time I don't know the truth, so I just
Right.
want to.
And it's gotten worse
Mm-hmm.
because they can make fake videos and all kinds of stuff. So, right, I'm just sitting back here watching all this stuff. But what I do know is that until you're really, really sure of that Turning Point USA is on the whole a very evil organization, I just don't think you should be tearing it down. I just don't. Because we have nothing. We have just a sliver of a hold on power, and we have like three or four institutions with us. And right now, every single one of them's under attack. So I'm just not like adding into that pile-on because if you destroy them, then what do we have?
Right.
We have nothing.
Yeah.
So that's just my opinion. And yes, I do believe so. When Charlie decided to do Turning Point action, and that was about ballot chasing in Arizona after what happened in Maricopa in 2020, it seems to me that people started throwing money at him and they spun that up in like 2 weeks. You know what I mean? So I think things probably were kind of spinning a little out of control. You could tell he was in a frenzy and the people around him, I mean, they openly talked about it on their radio show, which I used to have on in the background pretty much every day, at least for a little while. Um, so I wouldn't be surprised if there were a lot of people in there who got really mad. Things didn't work out exactly the way they wanted. Charlie might have been kind of freaking out. I mean, who wouldn't? He's like just one guy, and he was doing like a radio show and doing the college thing. And then they said somebody has to chase ballots in Arizona, and he took that on. Why you can't find someone else besides Scott Pressler and Charlie Kirk is a disgrace. It
Well,
really truly is when you think about it.
and here's something else to think about. Chew on. He was meeting with world leaders. He, in fact, and I mentioned it at the time, but Pastor Rob talked about how Charlie went with him to South Korea because he was meeting with a young woman who has her own kind of like it's a South Korean version of Turning Point USA, although it's not called Turning Point USA. And because there is a South Korean pastor, conservative pastor, that's been politically jailed. Once the regime changed, there was a regime takeover, and this pastor has been jailed, and she's basically the she's trying to start a movement like what Charlie Kirk did. And Charlie, according to Pastor Rob, Charlie Kirk agree to meet with her because she's, basically needing help. And so again, Charlie, there's a lot of people. That's the reason why the whole, I guess you want to, if you want to call it celebration of life that they did, the whole thing. And Charlie Kirk didn't just, it wasn't just a local, it wasn't just a United States movement, I guess you could say. I mean, he even went to what, Harvard that same weekend to debate those, Harvard, was it, or Oxford, wherever he went to in
No,
England.
it's Oxford. So yeah, he went to Asia the weekend before he was assassinated.
Right.
And that's sort of interesting. And then, because that overthrow of South Korea was happening, and who shows up there? Charlie Kirk. That's another avenue that people should look at and ponder. And then, because China, we assume China took down the conservative government in South Korea, and they had a funky election, and there were election observers in South Korea, American election observers that Trump sent there, who were going on Steve Bannon's show about what was going on. So there's that. And then yeah, that guy in Oxford. I don't know when the Oxford thing happened though. I think that was a few months before. I don't know when that debate
Mm,
happened, but
I,
yeah,
I,
Charlie was filling a lot of shoes. And um yeah, I mean, it could be just that, sometimes I just sit here and I think, because so many things went right for them, and they were successful in so many endeavors. It might be that they just got quite laissez-faire or sloppy about Charlie's security. Like, oh, we've done this many, many times. We've done this before. And so we never had to have security before. So why should we have to have it now? You know, I just can't imagine why they let him be in that situation. I guess he'd spoken there before. Candace said the both of them spoke there before in that open air amphitheater or whatever. So it might just be that they felt comfortable there because they've been there before. I'm just saying, if someone can open the door, second floor door to a building, come out on a balcony and shoot you, and then escape through the building. I mean, I don't care if you're like just a total nobody. That's not a good place to go on stage if it's a political thing. We're basically inviting Antifa to come and debate you.
yeah, I
I
don't know.
mean,
Well, remember Steven Crowder did it before Charlie Kirk did, but Steven, I don't know if Steven Crowder, he goes, was it Change My Mind? He did those Change My Mind debates.
yes.
And I think after once Charlie Kirk got the momentum, he kind of stepped back, but now he's doing it again. But he's because he learned he's behind bulletproof glass. And there, I've seen videos of other people doing this, basically the same thing. So there are people trying to fill the gap, but more on a local level as opposed to statewide level. It's just that they're not getting the traction that Charlie Kirk did, social media wise. So he started something. He started a movement, and like you said, what did they do? I mean, what did these people, these opposition people, do when something good starts happening? They want to tear it down because they know it's being effective. And I could talk about. I could segue into what Chucky Schumer's doing. I mean, come on. I just like that whole rhetoric. I mean, it's just it gets me. It get kind of
Well,
gets to me after a while.
right, I see people questioning Erica Kirk. Well, I mean, here's the thing. So, whenever you're dealing with power and influence and money, whether it's in the religious realm, the political realm, the corporate realm, whatever it is, when somebody's very influential and powerful, a lot of evil stuff. A lot of ambitious, evil, weird people come into your life and they don't really care about you. They care about your power.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know Erica Kirk. I don't, she was, I mean, my overall impression is if you're a beauty queen with a fashion company, I have a certain template of that type person, but templates only go so far. So that's because I worked in the fashion world for a fashion designer, and those girls were out for money.
Right.
They wanted a certain lifestyle. Now, I don't know. Erica could be the sweetest person ever, or she could be, you know, evil to the core. I have no idea. But you know what? If she's going to run Turning Point until the next election, as long as she's, unless we find evidence that she did something, I'm not going to tear her down. Okay.
Right.
It's not just that we need the organization to stay standing until we find something to replace it, if that has to happen, but because um, it's just totally unfair to tear something down because you don't like somebody or to accuse them of some rumor that you can never prove is true or not. I mean, if she killed Charlie, then I think she should, apparently in Utah, you face the death penalty and she should have to face justice, have her day in court, and we'll see what happens. But it seems unlikely to me that she is behind his murder. I
Uh,
just don't see the connections between a beauty queen fashion model and being an accelerationist in furry transphoba chat rooms.
right.
I don't see the connection there. But what do I know? I know nothing. I knew Charlie. That's it, and that
Right.
was years ago.
Right. Well, I mean, the thing is if she is, the truth will come out, and people are trying to dig into her past and saying she did this, she did that, she's this that. Don't forget the intelligence community is very good about creating false profiles, whether she's who she says she is or if she's being controlled. They're very good. She may be what she appears to be. And for those that want to disparage her and says, well, she's this and this, like I said, intelligence, they're very good at creating fake profiles you know to control a narrative. And this is the reason why I trust nothing. I trust very little what I see, and what I do trust, I question, because we have been live for
Right.
so long.
Well, she is a former beauty queen who was Miss Arizona, and she did own a fashion company and was in New York. I've checked all of that out. So that is true. But what people aren't thinking about is if you're in the fashion industry and you're a model, then and she was also an athlete before that. Um you so your armor is the way you look and your clothes. So she's not going to act like I would act. Like these are people who learn how to smile, sit in front of a mirror with a coach, and they learn, how to give a speech, how to present, how to look at a camera, put Vaseline on your teeth if your lips don't, slide right, do the makeup, do the hair, do this, do that, all of it. She's not going to present normally because she is a Barbie doll fashion person. That doesn't mean she's stupid. I think she has a doctorate, a Juris Doctorate. She's also a very well educated person, but she's a high achiever, just like Charlie. So, um, she's going to have this sort of perfect veneer over her. And that's just based on my caricature of these high achiever former fashion model, this kind of personality. She's
Right.
not going to show up looking strung out. And even if she doesn't feel like smiling, she's been trained to smile, to look at the camera, to pause with emotion, all of that, all trained. That's my take. I could be wrong,
Well,
but
I
she's
can tell.
not going to act normal.
Sorry. Well, what people consider normal, I can tell you for a fact. I mean, I can tell you based just my personality. I don't cry in public. I mean, there have been a few times I've broken down on air with after my mom and dad died, but that was like months after they died. I mean, my crying I do in private. I don't always, and granted, parents are different than a spouse, especially one that you've only been married to for what, about 5 years, if that. But in fact, I have a friend who, I mean, you can tell her about a dog getting hit, and she'll have tears in her eyes. Me, I don't. I don't. I mean, some people are just more sensitive than others. But like today earlier, I started crying because I mean, not that I, not that I, uh, he was my brother-in-law. The anniversary of my brother-in-law's death is coming up, and I don't know if that was what was triggering things, but like I broke down like the week before my mother's birthday. But the day of my mother's birthday, I was perfectly fine. So everybody grieves differently. And, you know, so everybody, so I don't know. I kind of, I really don't pay attention to a lot about the Charlie Kirk stuff. I think we've got other things to focus on, things that are happening, but everybody wants to bring up Charlie Kirk all the time. I don't. I think there's a distraction. We've got with the food stamps. I think that's a big distraction. We've got so many. Everybody's being so distracted about other things that what is it that we're missing? Because or what are we getting ready to remember? That one things that happens that right before something big happens to the I don't know if you want to call them Democrats, the leftists, there's always this big distraction. So, what are we being distracted from? What's happening behind the scenes that we don't know about, or what's getting ready to come down the pike that we don't know about? So they've got to, let's see, they got to control the narrative, uh, because they don't want the good to come out. If that makes sense.
Well, yeah, that was the theme of my show today, basically. I mean, we're getting like the D class that everyone pined for 6 years in the Q posts or what have you, and we finally get it. And it's like it didn't even happen. It's so funny. It's so weird how easily they control us and our feelings. And now, if a Q post came out about this Arctic frost D class that was dropped, if a Q post came out that same day, the whole planet would totally forget about Charlie Kirk and be looking at it. So, we're all just, it's human nature that when you're part of a social order or whatever, you just sort of follow the laser wherever they point it, even if you try really hard not to. But like I said at the beginning, we were trained by think a certain way, try to not get emotional, and um just clued in on kind of how things work. And like I said, I'm thinking right now normies are very checked out because they just can't deal with. I mean, honestly, going into Twitter right now is literally painful. I scrolled through, I mean, I gotta say 30 or 40 things about this, that, and the other thing about Israel before I hit the first thing that had anything to do with like D class, like something real. And I was like, just this Josh Hammer thing. Plus, he's so annoying; it makes it worse. And I have to keep like saying, no, don't pick this fight, don't pick that fight, don't pick this fight. But I do. I start getting involved, and I'm like, no, 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 don't get involved. But I can't help myself, and I'm like trained to not get involved in this circular emotional disaster train wreck of them trying to pull everything down. It makes me get involved. So I'm trying really hard not to. Yeah, X is a nightmare. If I don't know what's wrong with my algorithm, I don't know if I'm tagged as a graper, which I'm not, but all I get is Israel. I'm like, no, no more Israel. I don't want to think about Israel anymore at all.
Well, that's like when I'm on Facebook, every single post, if you go, it doesn't matter what it is, and I'm getting some stupid posts too. I mean, the moment about uh, oh, these judges saying that President Trump has to use emergent contingency funds to fund SNAP. I've got like 5 or 6 different sources saying the exact same thing, and every time you go in, the first thing you see is release the Epstein files. Are you kidding me?
Yes, that's another one.
I mean, it's like, oh my gosh. And I that's how I figured that these people are either being paid or they're not even real people, they're bots. So
Yeah.
I just laugh at them and I've learned to go on, but I am so tired of the farm bots, the bot farms, and I wish the bot farms would go away. I know the USA, a lot of these people are being paid by USAID to spout the nonsense, or you go in and you got the 5 people on the same post, you got 5 or 6 people uh, reposting the same rhetoric, the worded the exact same
Yes.
way. It's just that's what drives me kind of nuts. But I'm like I said, I'm getting to the point. I just ha ha, you're so stupid, and oh, you're heartless because you want to take food out of babies. Guess what? Who's saying that they're going? Just because they're getting SNAP benefits does not mean that they are not being paid. Are not being fed. I mean, if they're not being fed, that's on their parents, not because of the benefits or the SNAP isn't there, but because what are their parents spending their money on? Are they spending it on food? I mean, I'm gonna say it. I didn't want to because I don't want to. I'm not trying to brag or anything, but for the last 2 or 3 months, I've been buying eggs and milk and tortillas so I can eat. I have egg sandwiches. I make myself an egg burrito. That's what I've been eating on, and because everything else has to either go to gas or whatever, and the fact that we've been traveling for my grandson's football games, so I have a little bit of money to eat there. But that's what I've been. We pretty much have cut out anything extra. It's just, and of course I do get my monthly subscription of ground beef, so we have that. It's just that we're so busy having time to really sit down and fix a meal. But so these people who are complaining about their benefits. And if you notice, all these states are they're saying, "Oh, I mean, there's at least been at least 2 states that did. New York, I think, said, "Oh, we're going to give out a couple of $1,000s for the SNAP benefits for our people." We have in California, there's like, "Oh, we need donations. So we can, $1 will feed 3 families." And I know for a fact because I've seen it. When they give out money, I mean, they give out this food. A lot of times the people don't even eat the food. If you give them the food, they'll throw it away. That's the thing. They'll throw it away. I've seen it for my own eyes,
I,
and I mean, and let's see, Oklahoma just announced that the governor of Oklahoma just announced he's giving out up to $1 million for the next 7 weeks for the SNAP benefits for 77 counties.
yep, yep.
So
Because we have a rainy day fund here, but that's sort of it's like a legal thing that has to do with it's like kind of like uh Alaska, where there's like a fund that because they're an oil state, they get those refund checks and all that. Here we have this like rainy day fund, and it's funded by uh like a tax of sorts on oil companies. in exchange for kind of making Oklahoma, environmental stuff and services they pay into this fund as oil producers. So in good years when gas prices are high, like they've been under Biden, that rainy day fund builds up some money that can go into play if the federal government doesn't do what it's doing, like a tornado or this food stamp thing. Yeah. So I don't know. They showed allegedly a store being looted last night. Is it New Jersey? I can't remember. I think it was somewhere on the East Coast because the EBT cards were empty. But that could be footage from a riot like in 2020, a George Floyd thing, and they're just saying that.
Mhm.
So I did not have the time, I wasn't covering that, so I didn't really look into trying to find the news report or police reports that was actually what it was. Because they're going to want everyone to think, oh, well, you might be okay, but everybody else is suffering and having to steal food at the store because that's a psychology 101 thing. So um, I don't know if that's actually happening, but yeah, I mean, I know in Chicago the food stamp program is a total joke. There are like liquor stores and stuff that have fake EBT scanner things, and you can go say that you're buying whatever, and then they just give you the cash and keep like a surcharge.
Right,
And so you get cash and you can go out on the town or buy clothes or something else you need that the card doesn't cover. So everybody knows that. It's currency in low income areas.
right,
And no one thinks it's really a crime because to them it is their currency. It's all they get. Is different benefit cards and this, that, and the other way, and they've figured out ways to trade them. So it is the reality of what their situation is. And everyone knows it. It's I don't know. I always think it's funny when people like are surprised by such things. I mean, if that's your cash and you need something that's not food, what do? You figure out a way to exchange it.
exactly. Well, and you think about this, they're saying that 42 million are on SNAP. And why are 42 million on SNAP or SNAP? Well, my question is how many of those 42 million are actually eligible for SNAP? I mean, we know there's been.
Well,
Go ahead.
that's because during COVID, Biden expanded SNAP to cover people up into ridiculously high incomes. In fact, at one point, I think I checked and I was actually eligible for SNAP, which is ridiculous, but I would never apply for it.
Right.
But other people would, there's just that personality. They can get something, they're going to get it.
Well,
So, but as a
well,
quote unquote single mother with a moderate income, at one point in time, I think I was eligible for SNAP during COVID.
right. Well, with the, I mean, and this is back in the 90s after my daughter was born, and I was making, let's see, my gross my gross was like 1160, and I was bringing home about little less, like 950, maybe $1,000. My rent at the time was 450, but yet when you added like $85 for childcare and some other things, I went to apply for WIC, and I was told I made too much money for WIC. And I was also told if I had another child, I could then be qualified. I'm like, how does
Mhm.
that make sense? I make too much, I need help, but I make too much money. And yet you're saying if I went out, I mean, that is just saying, okay, why don't you go cheat the system by go get pregnant again? I didn't want to do that. I worked hard to get, uh, and I busted my tail, and I just and that of course that is including getting what little child support I did too, and And then
Well,
15 years later, I was homeless. And because I was working with two jobs, and because I was staying with a person, or someone was giving me shelter, because I was not paying rent. I was only qualified for $10. I'm like, well, that's when milk was like at 4.50 a gallon. I said, it's not even worth using it. And again, I buckled down, and I busted my tail to get back where I was before everything bottomed out. And it took me about 10 years to get back to where I was. And you know, so
yeah, it's
anyway.
crazy. I mean, when I had my son, I was in Missouri, and it was a relatively low, Missouri's a low income state, but it is basically a red state. You're not even out of the hospital, and these like I don't know what they are. Uh eh, like nurse's aid or some kind of, it's like there's some word for it, counseling something. They're like, oh, and they give you this free bag, like a little bag, and it has wipes and a free thing of baby formula and different things, which is, I guess, nice. And then they're like, okay, so we're gonna fill out your WIC. I'm like, I never said I wanted to fill out WIC, and she was so surprised I didn't want to fill it out. She's like, well, you can get free things for the baby, food and formula and this, that, and the other thing. I'm like, "Ugh." I don't think anyone ever told her no, that they didn't want to fill out the WIC thing at the hospital. It is crazy, man. Yeah, advocate, like some kind of social worker advocate person.
uh,
I was surprised about everything
well,
when I had my son. It's
well,
just like crazy. I'm like, that's just not what I expected.
Well, in 2005, when I went, I was encouraged to go. People kept telling me, yeah, go do it, because, you need it. But yet I qualified for $10 worth. And
Mhm.
I have my own opinion about why I was disqualified, or I was only qualified for $10 worth. But anyway, it is what it was. And it's, not so. When it is a triggering subject for me, because, like I said, because of my experience when I needed help and I couldn't get the help. So,
Well, I better get going here. I hope you have a
yeah.
good show, Deb.
Well, thanks,
See you
thanks,
guys
Aaron,
later.
and
Bye.
see you next week. Okay, chat. This is Deb65, and this is on a wing and prayer, and I have been absent for a while. So, yeah, my grandson's football season is over. They didn't get very far, but it was like I told. I mean, it's kind of hard for a lot of people to coach, and there's a lot of politics this last season that. And I talked about a couple of weeks ago on my Thursday morning show, um, the politics involved. But I tell my daughter, because last year they won their Super Bowl, they won their championship game, but they were in a lower division. And then this year they went up, they were bumped up not only in a different division. They were bumped up to the high division, but it was they were in my grandson's case, he was bumped up to a higher age group. So it's kind of like when you're in elementary school, you're fifth grader, you're tough, you're rough, you're tough, you're top man on the totem pole. Then you go to junior high, and then you're having to fight that way back. So it's kind of like that. But, and for those who don't know, I will be, um, hey P Dizzle, I will be moving in a few weeks, so I will probably be scarce around the new year for a while till we figure out where we're going to. We already know what state we're moving to. We just don't know. We just don't have a a residence as of right now that I'm aware of. So we got about 60 days to get it all figured out. So it's going to be a challenge. So in the meantime, I hope you guys stick around. And I am going to put on my show opener and I'll be right back. So if you will, please put a 1 in chat and so I can acknowledge my chat. And I'll be right back.
Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of God, that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this age, against spiritual hosts of wickedness in the heavenly places. Therefore, take up the whole armor of God, that you may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all, to stand. Stand therefore, having girded your waist with truth, having put on the breastplate of righteousness, having shod your feet with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Above all, taking the shield of faith, with which you will be able to quench all of the fiery darts of the wicked one. And take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God, praying always with all prayer and supplication in the Spirit, being watchful to this end with all the perseverance and supplication for all the saints, and for me, that utterance may be given to me, that I may open my mouth boldly to make known the mystery of the gospel, for which I am an ambassador in chains, and willfully so, that in it I may speak boldly as I ought to speak. Amen.
Father God, I ask now for an impartation of your Holy Spirit. May the fullness of the Spirit of Jesus rest upon President Trump, that he be anointed with wisdom and understanding, with your counsel and might, with knowledge and fear of the Lord. And accordingly, may President Trump not judge by what he sees with his eyes, or decide by what he hears with his ears, or lean on his own understanding, but may he recognize your prompting and move according to your guidance. I ask that you give the President supernatural discernment to know who is trustworthy and who is not. Bring into the light all deception and intrigue. Expose and reverse the plans of those who would harm President Trump and this nation. In the name of Jesus, I break off all voices and influence that do not come from you, Father God. May your truth and peace surround and reign in the White House. God, you have raised up President Trump to govern at a time when there is a resurgence of oppression. Only you, Lord Jesus Christ, can anoint him to have victories over strongholds and to establish justice for the needy. Give him strength and courage to persevere in the constant battle that surrounds him, and refresh him. Father God, I see that you have such a tender heart for President Trump. Draw him close to you. I ask now for an impartation of hunger for you, so that he may love you with all his heart, soul, mind, and strength, and delight in knowing you. And if he came and whisper your name, may he go forward shouting your name. In Jesus' name, in the name of my King, I bless you.
Okay, I am back. I went to, before I start acknowledging chat, I'm going to try to set up, I'm going to try to set up my live stream. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Pray that it doesn't uh, I don't get kicked off of Zoom, because the last few times it's funny how sometimes I can do it no problems, and then sometimes I get kicked out. So let's see, make sure all of my. But while I'm doing that, while I'm setting things up, let me see. I see Real Praying Mantis is out there. Let's see, Oliver 2452. And let's see, Turtle Dove. Hey, thanks for putting a one. Yep, Dynamax. Yeah, I just wasn't on when they did, so I didn't get to hear it. But I do have my links out, my Rumble links, and so I do have my Rumble. I have my PayPal in case it's laid on your heart to help. I know everybody asks for help, and you can only do so much. You can't. I used to like go out to the checkout stand and you know contribute to whatever food bank, and then I got to think, you just can't help everybody, you know, you so. But I'm going to try to do this. Let's see. Let's see. Who else is out there that's going to listen? Hey, Ultra Cocoa Pop. Yeah, isn't that interesting, Dynamax? Nuremberg the movie's coming out. Thanks, Red Pilled Red. Let me. So last 2 months have been just really, so much has happened, and we. And how many of you, give me a one if you think this whole shutdown is a whole big distraction? Because you think about it. I mean, I think one of the things I wondered about on this whole shutdown thing, you think about it. So is it about the snap? Is it about something else? Is it about, exposing the waste and the fraud? Is it about, uh, what are the Democrats? Are they panicking? Is this the panic mode? Are they panicking about it? So what do you guys think? And uh, let me get this up. I'm gonna try see what I can do. I haven't put anything new since October 23rd. I actually put something on my birthday. That was the last time I had a show. Um, but yeah, it's been crazy around here trying to get. And then this week we had fall break. We had fall camp at work, and so I got to even though I got to get off early, it was still a busy week. So it was just um, so let me. I'm going to put. I do have Twitch. I haven't really done much of anything. Let me see. So, oh, if let's see. I think Cultivator, if you are out there, I do have. I actually got a one of those cheap little video cameras, that I was able to. Cannot believe it's already November. Gosh. But I got one of those video cameras. What did I do? Um, oh, sorry. I got one of those video cameras, and nope, nope, nope. That's not it. Oh man, I need to do something. But I got one of those video cameras to videotape my grandson's football games, and it's a little rocky, a little shaky. So if here we go. If anybody wants to link to those videos, I can put them out there. Let's see. Oh, here we go. All right. News. I gotta make sure everything's all set. And looks like yeah, Turtle Dove, that and win big, yeah, a little of everything. But I'm thinking, yeah, Real Prairie Mantis, diversions for all while stuff goes on. Rock and roll cult. So let me get this. All right. So let me get my studio set up and show. Um, let's see. No. Oops. No. I don't know what I'm doing. Huh? Okay. Let me live chat. I think I've got it. Let me get my microphone enabled. Okay. I get my presentation. The other day I was doing a presentation and I couldn't figure out why could I not why my videos were not shared in Rumble, and then I found out I had the wrong thing. So all right, hey everybody, if you are on Twitch, D Live, YouTube, I am opening up. This is On a Wing and Prayer. This is Saturday evenings, 11. This is Saturday evening, November the 1st, 2025. Can you believe that we are 60 days or less? Yeah, about 60 days away from the new year. I'm Deb65. I have a show called On the Wing and the Prayer, Thursday mornings, 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. Eastern, and then 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern on Saturday. So this is my Saturday show. And for those in D Live, Rumble, YouTube, and Twitch, um, welcome everybody. And so if anybody wants to join me in Rumble or YouTube, you can. Let's see. I'm looking at chat and D Live to see. All right. So I've got a lot of things that I want to talk about, but let's see. Where should we start with first? Let's see. Wow, I don't know where to start, everybody. Sorry, but there's just so much. Okay, because last time I talked, we talked about something. I might put that later, or maybe not. No, I'm going to go ahead and start with this one. This has been reported. This was reported This was been reported over a month ago. So I went to. This is just a little bit of. Right. Let's see, get that out. And get that out. All right. So while everybody, there are things happening in not only in the United States, but there are things happening worldwide. So like an American missionary was reportedly kidnapped in Niger. And this actually took place on 2 weeks ago, October the 22nd. An American missionary was kidnapped from his home in the West African nation of Niger. I do not know the update. I probably should look up the update. Multiple security sources told BBC's U.S. partner CBS News. So is anybody talking about this? The man, who has not been officially identified, or 2 weeks ago, was kidnapped in the capital. Niamey on Tuesday, about 100 yards or 91 meters from the presidential palace, ousted where ousted Niger President Mohamed Bazoum had been held since he was toppled in a coup in 2023. Sources told U.S. media that the man has worked as a missionary for a U.S.-based charity and lived in Niger since 2010. Kind of reminds me of Pastor Brunson, who was basically held as a political prisoner in Turkey. It is unclear who kidnapped him. The U.S. State Department has said it is aware of reports of an American citizen kidnapped in Niger. The department spokesperson added that U.S. embassy officials are working with local authorities. We are seeing efforts from across the U.S. government to support the recovery and safe return of this U.S. citizen, the spokesperson said. Security sources told CBS the man was kidnapped by 3 unidentified gunmen, though there are no known demands from kidnappers. Again, remember, this is October 22nd, so that's been, a little over about 10 days ago? The American's phone was tracked to a location around 56 miles north of Niamey in an area considered a sanctuary for groups affiliated. Well, here's the interesting, I thought, when I first read this. Islamic State in the Greater Sahara, according to the Nigerian security sources cited by CBS. It comes 2 years after a July 2023 coup and ouster of Niger's democratically elected President Bazoum, which were followed by General Abdurrahman Tiani and his military junta taking power. Bazoum was overthrown by presidential guards who stood watch outside his palace. So, you know, traitors from within, right? Sources told CBS that Bazoum had been held in the palace since, living in 2 rooms with no windows. Niger is a key part of the African region known as the Sahel, a belt of land stretching from the Atlantic Ocean to the Red Sea. The area has been afflicted by jihadists and beset by military regimes. It is the largest country in West Africa. Before the coup, it had been seen as an example of relative democratic stability compared to its neighbors Mali and Burkina Faso. The U.S. State Department previously described Niger as important as a linchpin for stability in the Sahel and a reliable counterterrorism partner against various Islamic groups linked to either Islamic State or Al Qaeda. So I said it back then. This is something to start watching out for. I don't know. I'm going to stop the share real quick and I'm going to see if I can do an update to see what is the latest on this Hey, buddy, 4622. Hey, glad you can make it in. So I'm going to look this up real quick and see if there's any updates. Let's see. Let me see if I can do that. Oh, hold on. So. Um, let's see if I can get that. Oh my! Has anybody been following the uh, the World Series? I got sucked into watching the third game where they went into 18 innings, and I made the call then that they were going to stretch it out to 7 games. So they're playing the final game tonight. It's crazy. So let me see the update on the American kidnapped in Niger. And I did get your, let's see, P Dizzle. Okay, all right. I have to, I have to do some finagling. I wish I had 2 screens that I could, finagle to, oops, I wish I had 2 screens. I'm doing part of my stuff on my phone, so, so I have to, okay. Okay, I got it, P Dizzle, so I'll bring that up. All right, so let's see. When was this? Okay, here we go. Uh-oh. No, no, no. Why did you do that? All right. American kidnapped. I spend more time just trying to. So I really think that this is something that is being or not being. Let's see. Kidnap one. Okay. So this is says 7 days ago. It doesn't look like Let's see, AP. Let's see. No, doesn't look like it. They're reporting 7 days ago, but it's still the same information from October 22nd. Let me see. Let me see this one. Okay, well, this is October 29th, so this would have been closer to this week. So let me get this in. And if there's anybody else in chat, if there's anybody else in, let's see, in Rumble chat. Okay, so this is on the 29th. So this is from Persecution.org, which is an international Christian organization. So let me see if this may not be the same one. All right, so we do have, it looks like we do have a name. So 3 armed men, so this is October 29th, so this is just this past week. 3 armed men abducted American missionary pilot Kevin Rideout from his home in the middle of the night last week in Niamey, Niger. The suspected Islamic jihadist kidnapped 48-year-old Rideout, a pilot, for serving in mission or sim less than 100 yards from the presidential palace in Niger's capital. Rideout's cell phone location last placed him in an area considered to be a haven for extremist groups tied to the Islamic State in the Greater Sahara around October 21st. He also served with Concilium, which provides security resources for two missionaries and persecuted Christians. The U.S. State Department issued a statement saying it was aware of Rideout's abduction. Since we were alerted to the situation, our embassy officials have been working with local authorities, the statement said. So Rideout and his brother Ian have worked as sim pilots for years, flying mission personnel and equipment across West Africa to help multiple missions and humanitarian organizations. So while we are, I mean, I'm not saying that this is what's distracting us, but I think this is newsworthy, but who's talking about this? Jihadists in Niger have kidnapped U.S. missionaries before. Jeff Wood was freed from captivity in 2023 after spending several years in an Al-Qaeda affiliated group's camp. I just hope they don't get brainwashed, right? Since General Abdurrahman Tiani, leader of the Presidential Guard Unit, led a military coup in 2023, Christian persecution has worsened. Ulf Lansing, who leads the Konrad Adenauer Stiftung Sahel program, it said Islamic extremists are kidnapping tourists and aid workers more than ever. So there's not a whole lot there, but it is I think worth noting. That's like the Christians that are being beheaded. So I think that is worth noting. All right, let's see what the P Dizzle put out on this. Okay, let's see if I can get it up. So I'm okay. So let's get that. Sorry guys, I know I'm a little slow, but yeah, my system's just not set up for me to, or the system's not, just doesn't handle me up one. I need to learn how to do OBS. That's all there is to it. Maybe I can, that way I can do one at a time. All right, let me get rid of that. All right, so breaking. This is Mega Voice. President Trump stuns the world by preparing the Department of War to attack Nigeria for what they're doing to Christians. So, President Trump warning the Nigerian government to move fast. If the Nigerian government continues to allow the killing of Christians, the USA will immediately stop all aid and assistance to Nigeria and may very well go into that now disgraced country, guns ablazing, and completely wipe out the Islamic terrorists who are committing these terrible, horrible atrocities. I am hereby instructing our Department of War to prepare for possible action. If we attacked, it will be fast, vicious, and sweet, just like the terrorist thugs attacked our cherished Christians, warning the Nigerian government better move fast. Out. So, like I said, this is something to be keeping an eye on. And like I said, and I reported it. So, so this is, like I said, this is something to look for. I mean, they're fighting the jihadists. They're fighting the Islam. So it's important that we understand who we are against, who the enemy is. And I mean, the infiltration that we have within, that has people just, I don't know, people just don't seem to understand. Um, let's see. Let's see. Shut down. Okay. Let me see. And so, for those of you who would be interested in noting this, we're talking about this. We talk about the infiltration that's happened in this nation. And where did it come from? Where did it start? I mean, there was a time when if you were not a U.S. born president or a candidate, a citizen, you couldn't run for office. So think about this. So why Muslims can now run for office? On November 18th, 1990, that would be under Bush 41's uh, watch. The 101st Congress quietly repealed the McCarran-Warner Act of 1952, forbidding Muslims. See, 1952 would have been during the Red Scare, or right before the Red Scare with McCarthy. I think McCarthy, that started in what, 54? Forbidding Muslims from holding office. Members of that Congress, which would have been the 101st, were Dick Cheney, John McCain, Joe Biden, Al Gore, John Kerry, Mitch McConnell, Chuck Schumer, and Nancy Pelosi. So let that sink in. So I don't understand why we're not deporting what we got now. Guys, we really need to hope that New York. I mean, think about this. Uh, I mean, there's been talk. I don't know. Did y'all hear the talk about them? Oh, the Democrats going to finally get off their high horse and going to start to uh, and to. I guess Buddy left. I guess he didn't like that one. But are we going to get? Are they going to get out of the off their high horse and decide to go ahead and open up after the election Tuesday? Oh, I shouldn't have said that. I just realized something. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that. Uh, I really shouldn't have said that. It's, I don't know. I guess I still get kind of on the defensive. Okay, so I'm going to I am going to let you people. I mean, I know one of the things that have been talked about recently is why did President Trump so why is he getting beef from Argentina, right? Well, this guy says it. This guy says it, and then I want to talk about it. So let me see. Maybe Buddy went to a different platform. Who knows? Okay. Let's see. Okay. All right. Pay attention now.
Okay, we've all seen it on the news. It's the latest rage bait thing going on social media and everywhere else. Trump says we're going to buy beef from Argentina. And everybody's like, oh my God, beef from Argentina. Y'all, track with me here. As a cattle ranch owner, okay, I'm like in the business. Let me give you some scoop for you city folks. A large portion, if not the majority of our beef has been coming from Brazil and South America for about 5 or 6 years now. How do you know? I'll prove it to you without you even having to Google shit. Look who the top people are in rankings in the PBR right now. They're not Americans. It's Brazilians. Now, why would Brazilians be crushing it in the PBR circuit right now? Oh, because they're the ones raising all the cows right now. See, the hustle is this. They raise the cows in Brazil and then ship them over here to be slaughtered and processed in America, so they still pass it off as USDA grade A American beef, even though it's been raised over there. So moving it around the corner and asking Argentina to fill a void is ridiculous. But here's the big lie everybody's rage baiting about. All the media says, oh, the poor cattle ranchers, they're going to go broke. Are you fucking kidding me? Cattle prices are up 600% in the last 5 years. Every cattle rancher I know has a brand new Ford F-350 dually, a brand new trailer, and a bunch of new tractors to go around because they are printing money for the first time in their life. How the fuck you gonna say that ranchers are starving and cattle people don't have any money when every single day of the week a new record is being broke at the market and the auction for the price of cows that they're paying for? But American ranchers are smart enough to know that, hey, if we sell all of our cows, we don't have any more cows and we can't produce any more cows, and then we're out of business. business. So we're at a stopping point here where in order to preserve the herds and keep getting this great American grade A genetic real beef that's processed around here and grown here in America, we've got to slow down on the processing. Plus, don't forget Biden let like 100 million people into this country. They eat beef too. It's not like they eat pork. So us cattle ranchers, we've had the infrastructure to take care of about 300 million Americans. And now all of a sudden there's almost 400 million Americans. That's what they're not telling you. They're not telling you this shit, but it's true. So we're going to have to get some beef from Argentina. But it's not a big deal because you're probably eating a burger right now that came from Brazil anyway. What's the difference? Okay, we've all seen it on the news. It's the latest rage bait thing going on.
Okay, there you have it. I just and I apologize for the audio. I know the audio is hard, but I thought he had a good. Yeah, I mean, if we're already getting from Brazil, and oh, by the way, I think Cold Steel. Are you still out there, Cold Steel? Uh, yeah, I think it was Cold Steel that asking about my beef. No, Montana Cindy. If you are out there, are you still out there, Montana Cindy? I'm sorry, I meant to respond to you, and I just haven't done it. But I pay for 10 pounds of beef a month. I pay like $92. That's no tax for 10 pounds. I know that seems quite a bit for a pound of beef, but I get it every month. And the thing is, the subscription I use, you can, if that's too much, and it's just hamburger. It's not steak. It's not. They do offer steak. They offer sirloin. They offer different types of. But the cattle ranch that I get the beef from, it is here from the United States. They um, what am I thinking? Uh, they it took them 30 years to get the cattle up running. They don't do the mRNA hormones. They have control. They are not controlled by the government whatsoever. Um, they are in control of the process from the time that the cows are born to the time they go to the they have their own processing plant and until the cows go there. And so they so anyway, if you want to know more, you can always text me and I'll be happy to talk to you. So what he was saying, he basically what he's saying, he's a cattle rancher. The cattle ranchers are not hurting like they, because the Argentina beef, because we're already getting beef from Brazil. He mentions that the not my president, but Biden allowed how many people, and they're probably eating beef too. But think about this. Remember how the Biden administration had the farmers culling the herds because of quote mad cow disease, or if they did not comply with the government, they were making them and injecting them with the mRNA vaccines. They were having them call the herd. So what President Trump is doing with the Argentina beef is he's bringing them in to kind of level the playing field. So once the cow industry gets stabilized, we don't need the Argentina beef. So that's basically what he said. So So I apologize again. I apologize for that. Oh, red pills, red. Did you have to put that out there? I'm. I don't like that kind of stuff. If you want to do that on somebody else's show, you can, but I don't. Uh, if I would appreciate it if you would go ahead and delete it. But anyway, where can I go next? And here I got and I put this meme out there. Thank you. Oh no, you didn't. You didn't do it. Okay, so people are complaining. Yeah, I saw this. I saw this. Mm, I saw this where it says when employed workers protest, lower electricity rates, lower city taxes, lower home interest rates, lower county taxes. Well, guess what? What do you think these taxes go to do? Where do you think these taxes, besides the politicians' pockets? What programs are these supposed taxes funding? Yeah, and isn't it funny how you have people complaining about not get their benefits, but they're talking about, then they're griping about people who are working. You know, I used to, when I worked for the state of Texas, I actually had a friend saying, "Well, I pay your salary." I was like, "Okay, I pay my own salary. How about that? I'm paying tax too." So, so just to remind people, we do have there is a community guideline in D Live that we do have to follow. So anyway, but I just saw that and I just thought, how the irony! People complaining about, you know, but where do you think the taxes are going? We are so taxed to death, and I don't understand why people are okay with being taxed. Oh, but it goes to, you're funding the service, the police, the da da da. But it's like that's a little. First of all, that's a little bit different. I don't know if we're really funding it through our taxes, but to for these social, I want to be able to decide where I want to be charitable to. Like I said, I used to go to the store and I would do the food bank and things like that. But one reason why I stopped, because you can't support everybody. That's all there is to it. You can't. You can't support everybody. But and two, if you look at some of these charities, what percentage of charities actually go into the program versus going into administrative cost? I think, I don't remember, is it Red Cross that almost 80% of their donations go to their administrative costs, their overhead. So anyway, so I know, I don't know. I'm feeling salty tonight. I guess I'm frustrated right now. Uh, yep. I'm reading chat. Woo. Yeah, again, I agree with you. Drain the swamp, stop food fraud. Ooh, I do like the ice cream. It's hard to skim off the top of a can of green beans. Okay, so let's see. I wish. All right. So, all right. Here is. Okay, that's the beef lie. Let's see if I can see if this one will work any better. No, I don't think I'm going to do that one after all. Nah, I don't remember why. Oh, but I do. I think I do. Have y'all noticed how many military planes have been crashing lately? There's been a lot of military planes crashing. And let's see. Gosh, I didn't have a lot. I thought I had more on my thing, on my notes, but I don't. Let me see. So here's another one for you. So everybody who is screaming about President Trump, I mean, they're all yelling, "We gotta, he's not. He's what's the new rhetoric about President Trump and shooting down drug these drug he's he's taken down these drug trawlers over in Venezuela. Yeah, Rocky Road. Ooh. No, I can do without the Rocky Road, but I like vanilla with chocolate sauce on it. Okay, so here's the Venezuela's timeline. Remember, and this is what we need to be watching out because we are following the same timeline. 1992, Venezuela was the third richest country in the hemisphere. 1997, 5 short years later, became second largest purchaser of F 150. And let's see, 4 years later, voted for socialist president for income equality. How long have they been pushing income equality in the United States, saying, "Oh, there's a discrepancy between income or income inequality"? So again, how long have they been trying to say, "Oh, so you're not getting paid for what you're worth"? Why is so? How long have they been pushing that here in the United States? 3 years later, 2004, private health care is completely socialized. Well, what do you think Obamacare was about? Obamacare was trying to get you socialized. It was socialized medicine. You had to take Obamacare. Remember when they had how long did it take for their website? It kept crashing. And then if you did not have Obamacare, or if you did not have some sort of insurance, I mean, I was fortunate. I got insurance through my company, and they actually started off paying like 20%. But after a while, they cut it down to 70%. And not only that, it didn't go as far. And if you didn't have insurance, you were, guess what you were penalized on your tax return. You were like a 10% or something like that. Whatever if you got back something, you got less. If you got a refund, you got less because it was uh, you got less because of the penalty, and it became cheaper just go ahead and get the just be penalized uh, on your taxes than it was to actually pay for the premium. Ooh, yes, I like mint chocolate chip too, Alan 101. And I like turtle cheesecake. Ugh. All right, so get back to 2007. So 3 years later, all higher education becomes free. Well, guess what? That's what how many of these states push the lotto? So it was supposed to go to higher education, so it was free. So if you play the lottery, that money was going to education. And Texas, when they pushed it in the 90s, and there were people that pushed by, that's how they sold it in Texas, is that it was going to pay for higher education. And then 5 years later, they're like, oops, there's a loophole in the lotto, and it's not going to higher education, it was going into the general fund. Oh, boy, how about that? So then you got 2000, 2 years later in 2009, socialists banned private ownerships of guns. What are they trying to do? The lie is, oh, we're not coming after your guns. I mean, look what they're trying to do. We've gone from, in some places, we've gone from concealed carry, then you've got to have a permit or a license. You got to show that you know how to use gun safety. We go to how isn't it funny that they have these buyback programs, right? They have the buyback programs. I got it. I got it on Facebook. Montana Cindy, did you catch what I was talking about on the beef? So let me know. Give me a thumbs up if you did, if you will, please. This I actually got this. I got this meme, I guess you can say, from Facebook. So that's all I have. I don't have a real link to it, and unfortunately, I can't copy the photo to. Uh, I can't copy the photo to D Live. So let's go with it. Oh, 2012, 3 years later, Bernie Sanders praises their American dream. Yeah, and what is he? I mean, can you believe they're actually going back to Bernie Sanders? Bernie Sanders, who was basically swept under the rug in 2016, and now he and AOC are campaigning together for their American dream. Okay, hold on, man. Let me get it for you here. If you will, if you will, you'll, if you'll email me, I'll get you some information. Here is my email, and we can either make it. I can set up a time and we can talk if you want, or I can just email you some information. Let's see. 2014, 2 years later, opposition leaders are in prison. What are they doing? I mean, they've tried so hard to put President Trump in jail. They put Peter Navarro in jail. They put Steve Bannon in jail. Tina Peters is in jail. I mean, how can people not understand? How can people not see? How about the grandmother, the 72-year-old grandmother that they put in jail for praying in the Capitol? Everybody keeps saying the Capitol is the people. Well, they keep saying the White House is the people's house, but the Capitol. She goes to the Capitol to pray, and yet they put her in jail for praying, for Pete's sake. That's like in England, the woman who was across an abortion clinic, and they put her in jail for just standing on the sidewalk and pray. She was across the street, and yet they put her in jail. They arrested her. Then we have 2016, food, healthcare shortages become widespread. Oh, like right now? Hello, I mean, that's what they're pushing right now. The shortages. Well, don't forget what they did. Well, this is 2016 under President Trump. 2017, Constitution and elections are suspended. They're trying. They've been trying. You know, they said that President Trump is going to be a dictator. President Trump is going to be a king. Hey, if President Trump was a king, guess what? He would have already had the government open back up. He would have, arrested Chucky Baby and Hakeem or Hakeem. Sorry, I'm being mean. I'm not being very nice. Or and talk about, okay, and then 2019, unarmed citizen massacred by its own government. Of course, now they're trying to say that that's what ICE is doing. It took only one generation of progressive leadership to plunge this country into civil war. Thank you. Thank you, Dawn of a New Day. So, I mean, guys, we are following the Venezuelan timeline we do not fight back, and I don't necessarily mean arms. That's the thing people don't understand. President Trump is trying so hard to keep us out of that kinetic war. I mean, we have skirmishes, okay? We're having little minor skirmishes and battles. Can you imagine us living through the kind of Civil War back in the 1860 to 1865 under Lincoln? Let's see. Okay. So So the fact that they're trying to stop President Trump, President Trump has taken, has given orders to take out these boats from Venezuela. And you remember, basically he's fighting Maduro, right? He's fighting Maduro. All right, let me take that one down. And let me take that down. Again, I'm going to put out for those who just joining us, I'm putting out my Rumble. I have my Rumble up. If you want to help, support me and just try to beat the algorithms on Rumble, because and I've a lot, And by the way, if you are following on Rumble or YouTube, go back and check, because sometimes I think that after a while, if you're not, if you and I'm on Twitch too. I do have a Twitch account, but I'm not so worried about Twitch. But if you, oh, all right, hold on. YouTube. Um, I had I had 32 subscribers on YouTube, but now it's, oh, maybe Trump will drone Maduro. So, um, ama. So, guys, thank you. I hope you are, I hope you're being informed. I hope this is informative, that something to ponder, something to think about. But I do want to briefly talk about the World Series, because I watched the this game three, and it was a crazy game. But anyway, what I was saying is, interesting enough, the Dodgers have three players that need interpreters because their players are from Japan. And yet Kiki Hernandez sits there and complains about what's happening. If I don't get me started about these people. Okay, so who put this out there? Who put this out here? Stuff. So this is a link from Stuff. So hopefully it'll come up. All right, so this is from X. I think I found my. So was it left my whatever off? FA off. The White House is trolling Hakeem Jeffries right now, creating a quote my safe space profile on the official White House page, calling him Chuck E. Cheese Obama, Timu Obama, Dollar Store Obama, Sombrero Guy. He's got a sombrero and mustache again. Top friends. Let me see if I can. If that will. I don't know if y'all can see that. Can y'all see that all right? Let me see. I don't know. That may not let me. It may not let me. Think that's gonna get it. You can see it better on Rumble. If you go to Rumble, you can see it better there. But it says Hakeem's blurbs Hey, we're Democrats in the White House and Senate. We love DEI, transgender for everyone, and handing out taxpayer benefits to illegal immigrants. We couldn't care less if our men and women in uniform get paid or if our neighbors are safe. We just love playing politics with people's livelihoods. Well, that's because they're Marxist and socialist and communist heroes. Anyone who identifies as a radical leftist, transnational gangs, illegal immigrants, who I'd like to meet. Honestly, we couldn't meet enough members of Antifa or illegal immigrants. They're just so awesome. So, nicknames: Sombrero Guy, Timu Obama, Dollar Store Obama, Chuck E. Cheese Obama. So of course, this is his top friends. Of course, this is a meme. So guys, don't take this too seriously. This is a meme. This is making fun. So his top friends are Joe Biden with the auto pin. You got the Fenty girl, Antifa, and it's funny how nobody has these Antifa people, these people on the left, that has not made a connection between the Antifa flag and the so-called Nazi flag that they keep spouting off that we're going back to Germany of 1939 because of Antifa. Antifa is the Nazis of 1939. George Soros, Chuck E. Cheese, the real Chucky, the Maryland dad. Oh, did y'all and Tampon Tim? Did y'all see that? Why is answer me this? Why is the Maryland dad, this Abrego person? Why is he still in the United States? Huh? Why is the guy still in the United States? He was supposed to be sent months ago. I mean, at first, they had a chance to get rid of him, and then what did they do? They could have got rid of him, but what did they do? You got these activist judges who, by the way, so anyway, yeah, I'm looking, I'm looking at, I'm looking at I'm looking at D Live chat right now. So, oh my goodness, we got about an hour left. Okay. Let me see. I want to see how we are doing in D Live. So far, D Live has not kicked me out. Yay! Woohoo! And as far as I know, I haven't lost audio in D Live, so thank you for that. I think I'm finally figuring out how to do D Live. Okay. Let's see. So I thought this was an interesting. This is kind of to kind of change gears a little bit, because I thought this was this is just interesting news if you ask me. So all right, all right, all right. Ha. Uh-oh. Looks like I'm losing D-Light. Yeah, I'm losing Rumble, it looks like, maybe. Uh-oh. Yeah, okay, there it is. I was like, oh, I'm losing. Oh, I wish I could get rid of these things. No, I don't want. I don't want these Google ads. All right, there we go. So this guy, he was a convicted sex offender from Moore. I don't know if that's I think that's Moore, Oklahoma. And he's been captured after faking his death over a decade ago. I forgot to tell. I didn't realize that Moore was in Oklahoma, or else I would have. I didn't realize that this was a um, Oklahoma news station, or else I would have mentioned it to uh, Aaron earlier. So, convicted child sex offender from Moore captured after faking his death over a decade ago. Anthony Lennon, a convicted child sex offender from Moore, who faked his death in 2012, so that's been 13 years, has been captured in, of all places, New York after 13 years on the run. Oh, did I'm not sharing from D Live? Oops. Sorry about that. There we go. So, Anthony Lennon, a convicted child sex offender from Moore, who staged his own death at Super 8 Motel in 2012, has been captured in Canton, New York after 13 years on the run. It just sticks with you. There, there are just some really bad people you deal with, and he was one of the worst that I dealt with. So, Dustin Horst Cotter, a former detective with the Moore Police Department. Horst Cotter, who worked on Lennon's case, expressed relief at the news of his capture, saying, "Chill bumps. I got them right now, just thinking about it." Lennon was on Oklahoma Attorney General Gunter Drummond's top 10 most wanted list and was known for his intelligence. He wasn't stupid. Let me get that out. He was kind of an intelligent guy, so it doesn't surprise me, Horst Scotter said. Horst Scotter was on Lennon's trail before he staged the crime scene at a Super 8 motel in Moore, where evidence such as footprints and blood was left behind in March of 2012. Chief Todd Gibson of the Moore Police Department explained the steps Lennon took to fake his death. He took elaborate steps, such as using his own blood. Blood from the crime scene was later positively identified to be Mr. Lennon's blood, Gibson said. Here is a list of aliases he used over 13 years that we are aware of, said Johnny Coleman from the U.S. Marshal Service office. Lennon was eventually arrested in Canton, New York, but Horst Cotter believes Lennon may have been in other locations. I don't believe for one second that that was the only place he was after he left Moore and staged his disappearance. Probably not. Horststetter Horst Cotter expressed concern that the potential impact of Lennon's actions, given the amount of child sexual abuse images Lennon had and distributed. Knowing that he's behind bars and that he's not going to be a threat to kids any longer. It's wild, just it scares me honestly. The last 13 years, what in the world has he been doing? I'm genuinely concerned about other victims that might be out there. So Lennon is currently in custody at Syracuse, New York, and authorities are awaiting details on his extradition back to Oklahoma for court appearances. Well, my question is, okay, what led up to him being arrested? You would think that they would have something about that. But, I mean, I find it interesting that he was able to elude capture for 13 years. And where does he get found? Of all places? New York. So, okay, can y'all still hear me? Can you give me a 5x5 if y'all can still hear me? Did did I lose y'all? Did y'all lose me? Can y'all hear me okay? Cause I am. Okay, thanks. Roses are bright. Let's see, where can we go from there? So I want to do an update, and guys, I just got to get up the courage to do it. To be honest with you, um, thank you, PK. Okay, okay. Uh, and, huh, might do that one. Oh, that's 47 minutes. I wouldn't be able to do that, Jay Taylor. Okay, so y'all remember? So I'm telling you, I've been talking about how the. Oh, I gotta share first. Never mind. Let me get my share up so you can see what I'm referring to. All right. So, so y'all remember back in July 16th to be precise, when there was the raid on the pot farm in Camarillo, and I was telling you that, hey, that was my neighborhood. I was actually on the road, according to the uh, according to the reports, I was actually on that road like an hour prior. And interesting enough, uh, I noticed about between 2 to 4 weeks ahead of time that road that there would be um, road crew out there directing traffic, that they would be. And now I do not know if they had anything to do with it, if they were part of maybe the operation. I don't know, but I thought it was interesting that this road crew, whenever we would drive down the road, it's a 2 lane road. It's a rural road, and we would be driving down it, and they would make it into 1 lane, and they did that for about, I would say, it was at least 2 weeks, no more than four. And because I would drive down that road, and an hour prior to the reported time of the raid, so the raid happened before the protesters. Anyway, um, I was on that road an hour before the reported raid, and I was like, that's surreal. But the the uh, the land and the surrounding land, the farmland around it, ever since the raid, there have been changes on the way the farmers, way they're cultivating that land. They're now neat rows. They're using tractors. So for those people who says who's going to pick your food, guess what? It's called John Deere tractor. They are putting piping in for the irrigation ditch. They're irrigating the land now. They're not trucking in water, and I'm going to go out there. I just got to figure out a good time to do it when I'm not going to be conspicuous. And I'm going to have to, and I'm going to have to, I want to show everybody what they're doing. So, but anyway, so here's, so protesters, federal agents clash during operation in Oxnard neighborhood. So here we go. You got these radicals, these brainwashed people. Oh, get your hands off the. So federal agents fired tear gas at protesters and clashed with them on the streets of Oxnard during an operation on Wednesday. The Department of Homeland Security says one man, identified as Isaiah Carrillo, was arrested in the operation for allegedly throwing rocks. So they're going after these people that were throwing rocks during the clash. So for allegedly throwing rocks at law enforcement during another clash between protesters and federal agents earlier this year at Glass House Farms near Camarillo. The violent rioter arrested by HSI was part of an agitator group called VC Defensa. So I need to look at that. A rapid response network that regularly impedes and obstructs law enforcement. Well, at least this report is actually telling some truth, right? The operation these violent rioters tried to obstruct resulted in law enforcement rescuing 10 migrant children from potential exploitation, forced labor, and human trafficking. DH Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin wrote in a statement. So there's an Operation A Bridge Too Far. So in the statement on social media, Oxnard Mayor Lewis MacArthur said DHS executed a federal warrant. I mean, how many of these people are sitting there saying, "Oh, they're arresting these people without a warrant"? Well, yeah, this time they're going through proper channels because these people obstructed a lawful proceeding when they did the raid, and so they got a warrant. Huh. It began around 6 a.m. in the 400 block of North A Street. The law enforcement activity drew a few dozen protesters, some with signs, who stood just outside that barrier. Once the agents started to leave the area, some protesters broke through the crime tape and a confrontation ensued. Can you say these people are going to be arrested too? As some protesters advanced toward them, at least 2 agents were seen deploying pepper spray at the crowd. Well, again, can you stop hindering the police or law enforcement? Isn't it funny how if an ambulance says stay 100 feet away. I mean, it's marked on fire trucks, stay 100 feet away. The law says, police cars, you move to the side when they're on the move, when they got the lights flashing, right? But yet these people will actually confront an ICE agent doing a federal law enforcement, enforcing the law. These people are just absolutely The Oxnard Police Department was not involved in this operation. DHS secured the area to maintain scene security and has reportedly taken at least 2 individuals into custody based on current information, MacArthur wrote. The agents used gas as they prepared to depart, reportedly because demonstrators were attempting to block them and impede their efforts. Things got really tense around 9 a.m. when federal agents set off flashbang grenades to keep the protesters away. Air 7 was over the scene. I think Air 7 is from out of LA too. Was over the scene that was cordoned off with crime scene tape. At least 1 armored vehicle was seen. Eyewitness News saw 1 person being taken away moments after someone threw a glass bottle at the agents. All right, let's see. Witnesses told Eyewitness News that a teenage boy was seeking help after he claimed the agents had taken his parents. Well, maybe if his parents had not broke the law and had kept their cool, then they would not have been taken. He said he was looking for his landlord and he was looking for his neighbor, and I took him back. I wanted to make sure he made it there safely, and when I took him into the house, there was broken glass everywhere. The house was turned upside down. There were broken doors. It was just a horrible sight to see, a witness said. Shortly after 9 a.m., the agents drove away, but there's still a lot of angry protesters at the scene who said that they had enough of the raids in their cities. Well, stop, get the local people to stop impeding the federal agents. If they would help instead of make the federal agents work on their own, the reason why people are getting swept up in these raids, people who are here lawfully, is because they are partly because they're in the wrong place at the wrong time, but you know it's crazy. It's awful. Oxnard, we have immigrants all around. It doesn't matter if you have documentation or not, said Oxnard resident Estefani Nunes. It's always been a city people travel to work the fields. These are purpose people who pay taxes. These are people that are parents. They are targeting the places they go to work. They're targeting the places where they take their kids to school. It's ridiculous. And then I want to applaud the community of Oxnard for showing up and support and rally to advocate for departure of ICE, said Oxnard resident Esther Anya. You mean, yeah, they're like, oh yeah, we got rid of ICE. Yeah, after they did their job. But here's the deal is, and this is coming from someone who's done taxes for people. They take the money that they get. Hey, Rose's right. You're in. Oh, you left Rumble. um, but they take the. You really think that the money that they get from paying taxes? I mean, they come in. They may have a ITIN number, a green card, but what they do is they claim like 5 or 6 dependents. I mean, they claim 5 or 6 dependents, so they're going to get the most of their dependents. And some of them don't even probably make enough to even warrant to file for taxes, but they get money back because even though they're not supposed to, they're going to get earned income. But the thing is they don't have a United States residence. They don't have a residence in the United States. And they take that money that they're going to get, and I mean, it's been reported. The statistic shows, and I had it, I don't know if I still have it in my notes somewhere. They take the money they receive and they turn it into the currency of the country of origin, and they send it back home. Hello. The people, I mean, I I mean, I actually turned down a guy who had a ITIN number when I was doing taxes, and I just said, you know what? They don't live with you. I can't. I'm sorry. I can't. I just can't, in all conscience, do your taxes. I'm sure they went to another H&R Block and let them do it for them, but it just didn't sit right with me. I mean, I know they give away the residency. Um, when you're a child, if they're dependent, if they're under 26 and they're going to school, that's how they get around that, the residency dependency clause. I mean, there's so many loopholes in the tax code on how they determine whether you're dependent or not. It's not hard to get around. Okay, and y'all aren't even paying attention to me. Okay. Let's see where. Oh boy, where do I go from here? Uh, so let's see. This is only a few minutes, so if it glitches and everything, you, I think you can. All right, I'm gonna try this again. Again, let me see if I can do that. Okay. Ba, 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 ba. So this is only a couple of minutes long. Hopefully this will, let's see. Hopefully, let's see. Oh, all right, I'm gonna try this. So this is back in 2023, July of 2023. I hope y'all can see it all right.
Across America are spending billions of dollars on benefits for migrants who have crossed the border illegally.
Yes, I do feel like a slap in the face. A slap in the face as me, as a legal immigrant.
How many benefits each asylum seeker is getting is a story better told by smaller numbers. In the sanctuary city of New York, housing is guaranteed. With tens of thousands of migrants flooding the system, some have been housed in hotel rooms that go for $300 a night. Mayor Eric Adams is also running a $53 million debit card program, $1,400 for a family of four. The mayor defending the move.
I'm not hearing from my colleagues down in Ecuador, Colombia, Mexico that, hey, everybody's running to New York because they're going to get a food card.
In Los Angeles, migrants are given full coverage health insurance and soon could get $1,000 a month through the city's Guaranteed Income pilot program, which is immigration status blind. And Chicago has spent $300 million since 2023 on migrants, on things like rental assistance. If you're a migrant there, you could get $15,000 annually to help pay for your housing. Cities across America are spending billions of dollars on benefits for migrants who have crossed the border illegally.
Yes, I do feel like a slap in the face. A slap in the face as...
Anybody remember that? Y'all remember how, I mean, we've been talking about this, and these people that sit there and say, they're not eligible. They can't get it. Well, guess what? They are. Hello. Wake up, everybody. They are getting these benefits. You have these, I mean, these sanctuary cities that sit there saying, oh yeah, we gotta pay, we gotta protect the migrants. But they're not here legally. And the ones that are, you know, how they're legal citizens. They have a green card. Did they overstay? Did they overstay their green card? Well, they're going in to get that rectified, but they still overstayed, right? I don't understand why people can't get it. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. So I'm putting out my links for those that if you are new, if you're just jumping on, this is on a wing and a prayer. This is Deb 65. I'm back. after a long absence because family and football and goodness, um, and whatnot. So we have, and I just let's see, trying to get my links in there. All right, let's see, what can I do now? And if you can, go to YouTube and check if you are following me on Rumble or YouTube, or make sure you're that you haven't, your links or your, oh, what's the word I'm looking for? Hello. Just make sure that they haven't kicked you off and that you stop following, that you have been able to follow. I know, free 5-star hotel. I mean, so I mean, and I spent the last 2 weeks or 3 weeks actually learning how to use a video camera, and let me see, we got some time. Let me see here. Let me see. We do have some time. I can show you. I can show you. Maybe I'll show you. Here's my camera work. It's a little bit my camera work on my football, my grandson's football. Oh, well, I don't need that anymore. Let me see. Yeah, they kind of got crushed. Let's see. Hold on. So let's see. All right. Uh-oh. Why do I have to, oops, I didn't want to do that. All right, I'm going to take that down. Why is it that when you expand your window, it doesn't let you do much of anything else? All right. So we can, all right. We'll probably just do a couple of minutes so you can see. All right. Yep. I may not let me because of it's yeah, it's very shaky. I promise you, it wasn't this shaky when I did it. Am I roboting? If I'm roboting, it probably means I need to take it down. All right, I'm gonna take it down. Let me stop the share. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. All right. All right. Am I back now? Can y'all hear me now? I got kicked off. So, yeah, I can't do that. All right. Can y'all hear me okay? Can you give me a 5x5 if y'all can hear me, please? All right, because I got kicked off, so I've apparently I have what used up my allotment of being able to play videos. So anyway, let me see what I can do here. All right, so where can we go now? What else can I rant about right now that has triggered me? Hey, Texas, Mrs. Texas Freedom Road, Ancient Allen Hare. Thank you guys. Where can I go next? I guess that means, let's see. Trying to see what I can do, if I can do any videos. Any more videos, anyway. Uh-oh. Did I? No. Okay, I got rid of... Alright, let's see if I can do... So, let's see. Let's go crazy, safety and numbers. Okay. Ah, yeah. Did y'all see this about Jennifer Lawrence saying, "Oh, I shouldn't be speaking out about politics anymore"? Crazy people. Oh man. My brain is on overload right now. Can't think right now. Um, let's see. I don't know if this is gonna work or not. I could. Let's see. I could try to sing a song, sing out loud, sing out long. Uh, let's see. Oh, go Jay. Okay, so hey, medieval night. That's a good one. What's the score? Is anybody keeping up with the? Oh, let's do this. Is anybody keeping up with the World Series tonight? I thought that was crazy. Oh yeah, I want to do this one. I could play that song. Well, if you remember, I was saying earlier that I found out, or was listening the other day, that the Dodgers actually have a have three players that are from Japan, and they have to have interpreters, so they don't even speak English. So I don't know how people feel about that. Oh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to play that. I may not be able to play that in Zoom. Or so let's see. I heard that Sunny was playing this yesterday, and I heard this, and I'm like, oh yeah, I wanted to play this because our military did, thanks to President Trump and the donor, our military did get paid. But you got to realize it's the active military that are getting paid. It's not necessarily the private contractors or military contractors. They're actual. It's the. Let's see, is this going to open up? It's the. Oops, I just realized I was not. When I was sharing my screen, I just realized I wasn't sharing the audio. That doesn't work. Hello? Oops, I just realized I was not. Whoop. And I just. Hot mic. Hot mic. Woo. Alright. Let's try this again. And I apologize, the audio and the video probably will not be in sync, but at least you can hear the song. All right, let's try this again. All right.
Stop right there when you see those boots and a uniform coming your way. Get off your cell phone and look 'em in the eye and drop that old briefcase. If you want to see what a hero looks like, this might be your chance. Before you go back home to your safe little world, y'all, don't you understand? These are the men and women that keep us living safe inside our homes. And if you took 1 minute, your head would be spinning to see the things that they know. So stop what you're doing, walk up to him, and tell him how much it means that every night you drift off to sleep. They're all across the planet, making sure you're free. Stop when you see a uniform. Don't you know who you just walked past with your headphones in today? You're all concerned with your own little world just outside the terminal gate. They're coming home from a whole nother world that we know nothing about. So the least we can give them's a standing ovation. It's time they hear us shout. These are the men and women that keep us living safe inside our homes. And if you took 1 minute, your head would be spinning to see the things that they know. So stop what you're doing, walk up to him, and tell him how much it means that every night you drift off to sleep. They're all across the planet, making sure you're free. Stop when you see a uniform. Whoa. Whoa. Yeah, these are the men and women that keep us living safe inside our homes. And if you took 1 minute, your head would be spinning to see the things that they know. So stop what you're doing and walk up to him and tell him how much it means. And every night you drift off to sleep, they've got it covered, protecting you and me. Stop when you see a uniform. God bless the USA.
Well, that is spinning and try to think about it. I just want to point out about something about military personnel. Many of them don't even. My daughter. I mean, I tell her it's like I would like to see you, and she always goes to work, and she doesn't wear her uniform except at work, and it's like it's I don't know. I just I they a lot of times that when they get promotions, it's kind of behind the scenes. You don't always know when they get a promotion. So I don't know. I remember when my daughter she was able to take her oath twice because when she did her MEPS, she went and they swore her in, and then when she actually got to go to boot, um, they allowed her to swear in because my brother-in-law and I think my niece and nephew. I mean, it was like there was at least three of us there to see her off, it and I remember someone said, "Thank you, thank me for my sacrifice." It's like she's the adult. It was her choice to go. And it's not necessarily my sacrifice, but I I don't know. I think I'm getting maudlin because Veterans Day is on the horizon, and Veterans Day is also that happens to be the same day that my brother-in-law passed away. And if you've listened to me talk about my brother-in-law, what he did for this country, and how he was involved in um, election integrity of 2018, 2020, and 2022 and 24, he was part of that as a contractor. He was the lead. From what my sister told me, he was the lead investigator, and I probably will never know what he. It will never probably. I'll probably never know what his contribution to all the election fraud stuff turned out to be, and what his conclusions were. So yeah, yeah, yeah. But I don't get to see the ceremony. I'd like to see her get pinned, get her pinned. She just got her wings too. So anyway, let's. I want to say, let's wave our flag.
from a pole? Or does it make you think about the ones who sacrificed it all? This flag, a picture painted in the wind, going through each generation, never giving in. This flag, it stands for more than just one thing. It stands for life and liberty and you and me. It stands for everything. This flag, it is strong in the face of danger, but some choose to burn it down. Well, if the ashes fly, no, I won't cry, 'cause it all comes back around to what it really means to be free and what is in your heart, so they can tear it all down to the ground, but that'll never tear us apart. This flag, a picture painted in the wind, blowing through each generation, never giving in. This flag, it stands for more than just one thing. It stands for life and liberty and you and me. It stands for everything. This flag, red, white, and blue, colors fade over time. What do they mean to you? Will you let it die? Please don't let it die. This flag, a picture painted in the wind, blowing through each generation, never giving in. This flag, it stands for more than just one thing. It stands for life and liberty and you and me. It stands for everything, yeah. It stands for life and liberty and you and me. It stands for everything. This flag.
Okay, that about wraps us up for this Saturday night of On a Wing in the Prayer. And so, guys, thank you, chat, for. I mean, I know it's been a while, and thank you for your kindness and your. Um, Thank you for your kindness and good wishes and goodwill. And what else can I say? Or to wrap up tonight, I think as soon as I get off and turn things over to Chris, that I'm gonna go finish watching the the rigged World Series, right? I think they're going to go into extra innings. Who thinks that they're going to go into extra innings? I don't even know what the score is right now, but uh, anybody believe that they're going to extra innings? I'm just like, I called it from game 3 that they were going to stretch it out to 7 because hey, they have to stretch it out. They lose money if they have it all done after 2 or 3 games, right? So, anyway, I put my links out there if y'all can help. Hopefully, I can get back in the groove of things. And it's going to be keep your heads on a swivel, everybody. Oh, and there was something, I can't remember now what it was I was going to point out. But anyway, with that being said, I see I have company. I have Chris and Sunny Days are in the house. How are you guys? And Toots! there's Mr. Toot Sweet and Chris and Sunny and hello everybody.
What's going on, Deb?
Hi, Deb.
Hey Sunny. Hey Mr. Toot Sweet.
Doing, Deb? How's everything?
Oh, it's going. It's gonna get funner as we get to the end of the year.
Welcome back.
Oh, yeah. I'm gonna gotta get rid. Gosh, it's hard to believe. 60 days, and we're probably going to be out of California. I can't come soon enough. $4 gas prices, $4 plus. I cannot wait to get down to like $2 and something. I mean, it's crazy because what the base will be like. I went down to 411 or 413, and we were, it was like it went, the new numbers came out, and it dropped by about 30 cents, and then basically overnight it went back up to where it was. It's just like, oh my gosh, in about a week. So with that being said,
At least you got 60 days. I got 4 days before I'm heading the hell out of here. No,
ooh, where are you
we
headed
got
to?
we got Zimbabwe coming in.
Oh, oh, I had a little boy that was we had our winter break at the school, and he's from Bahamas. And I asked him, were you here for vacation or for spring winter break? He says, no, we were here for. He's like in first grade. Anyway, he goes, oh yeah, we're here for Melissa. So he was a little cutie. Anyway, I'm
Who's
gonna
Melissa?
Melissa, the hurricane that hit
Oh, the hurricane. Oh,
the Jamaica and the Bahamas.
gotcha. That's
So
fun.
anyway, I am going to scoot out of here. You guys have a great show, and if the sun rises and the creek don't rise, I'll see y'all next week.